It's too late.
Okay, we're starting. How many attendees do we have so far? Okay, we'll wait for people.
7, 8. Okay, it's just.
Hi everyone. Oops. Okay, I think I'm going to be doing it. Okay, good enough? Yeah. Hi everyone, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 computers in the room and a camera to get this webinar set up right. So we're just sorting out some technical difficulties for the first few minutes, but I think we should be okay from here on out. We're going to get going because we are past 5:30. So I just wanted to say welcome to all the ladies. It's officially December. I can't believe it's December already. This is our last event of the year. If I'm looking around, it's because I have some ladies to my right and obviously Erin to my left and my colleague in front of me, and you guys on the screen as well. So there's a lot to take into account. I wanted to say thank you to all of you for not only being here today for this webinar, but for being a part of Xena. It's something that we're truly passionate about, and we're really just so thankful and so grateful to have you with us. To introduce our speakers today, to my left, I have Erin Louw. She is our founder. We have Sasha Knott, who's the MD of Job Crystal, and you'll hear a lot more about her business journey and her approach to 2022. We then have Vusi, who will just speak for a few minutes. She is our first or our second silver ambassador after Sasha, and she'll talk to you a bit about her business and her business journey. And then we'll be talking to Vusi Vokwana, who is the director at Kazi Catalyst. So we have a lot going on today. I wanted to say a quick shout out to 2 other silver ambassadors. It's not easy to reach silver ambassador status. You have to get 10 referrals to join the network. So a welcome and a thank you to Aviwe, who is on her way here. She's actually joining us in the office. And Homotseho Leholo, thank you very much for reaching silver status. And then a whole host of bronze ambassadors who are sort of also on the board and on their way. So Tabi Singh, Astrid, Bev, Inga, Caitlin, and Malebo, thank you very much. The first 3 ladies to get to gold status will win 2,500 Rand in vouchers. Gold status is once you've referred over 25 women to the network. We really believe that it is a form of paying it forward, spreading the love, and by referring other women onto the network, you are really doing your bit to empower other women. And then, over and above that, I just want to say thank you to all the members for being here, for being on Xena, and for making this network something that we can all really be proud of. I'm going to hand over now to Erin and Sasha, and they'll take you through their journey for 2022.
Move to the new couch.
I know, it's the other couch. Guys, just before we start, I also just wanted to take 2 seconds and just say thank you. This has been a whirlwind. I am not saying it lightly, and I think I'm not the only one feeling it. And I suppose it's kind of been a little bit of a definition of my career. And I mean, Sasha and I shared quite a lot over the last 10 years on purpose and accidental. So I can I'm privileged to have you here with me today because we've actually shared a few years together, as she has with a few of us. But ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I know that there's a lot of friends and family and colleagues and supporters and mentors and just ambassadors, people that really believe in the purpose and share the passion that we have. And I really don't take this lightly, or it's not something that I take for granted. I often, when I sit down for the 2 seconds, or honestly just get into bed in the evening and think about what was the last 4 months, I'm incredibly grateful. So I just wanted to start there. I'm not going to get all emotional and mushy today. This is not what this is about, but I just wanted to take 2 seconds and just say, firstly, thank you to you guys for joining us on that journey. So I'm just going to hand over to Sasha because I wanted to introduce herself first before I start peppering her with very interesting questions. I did choose some of them before because I thought it's nothing worse than arriving on the day and getting one or two of these left field questions from somebody that actually knows you. So I thought of sharing a few of those with her over the course of, well, I only did last night, so she had very little time to prepare. But just as a little introduction, Sasha, just your journey, because you are one of those few women that has spent time in tech, insurance, recruitment. It's probably some of the toughest industries out there. So yeah, just your journey and why do you keep picking the tough ones? So yeah.
I think I like a challenge. Yeah, I don't think I like it easy. So my journey started, I actually started as a waitress. I was actually talking to, we're mentoring two girls who just finished their matric exams. And they were like, what do we do until February we start varsity? I'm like, go work. I was a waitress. I was a waitress in a coffee shop, I was a waitress in Calabaran, like, go work.
Yeah, sure.
Go learn. And it's the best way you can learn because you learn about customers who are hungry, quite grumpy, and you feed them and they get happy and then they leave. So you learn that there's no issue there. It's no long-term problems to think of when you go to bed. So literally started as a waitress. My parents, I don't know what I wanted to do, so they said we're not paying for varsity. So I went to go to college. I became a programmer of all people. Figured out the computers, they could talk to me, but I really needed some more people interaction. I started by bits. So first I was in the IT industry with lots and lots of males. I was into further the male-dominated industries. I then into financial services.
Cracking them, right?
Yeah, a little bit more male-dominated. Always been a little bit of a disruptor, so figured out I joined the insurance industry knowing nothing about it and disrupting that with a company called Switch2. Sold that in 18 months to Clientele Life, so that was my first kitchen. And then moved into recruitment, mostly an all-girls industry, which has been very different. But always finding a purpose to see how we can help more. So we'll go through that a little bit later, but we're kind of aiming to make a dent in unemployment. And with the insurance business, we were aiming to help consumers. So there's always a bit of a disruption, a bit of a help, and a bit of a tech side. So that's pretty much my journey. Married, two little girls who absolutely adore and keep me on my toes, probably more than work does.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Somebody was saying to me yesterday, just enough kids, and she's like, how do you do it with kids? I'm like,
you just do it. And actually, I sometimes think they allow us to be able to do it because they're quite distracting. They do take your eye off or your head off all the serious stuff sometimes. So I sometimes think it wasn't for them. I would take myself way more serious than I do now.
I really think that blurred background of Zoom was created by a girl.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or that guy from CNN. He needed one. Yeah. So Sasha, I mean, one of the first questions, and I personally, it's for me important. I mean, you are especially good at networking, building networks. And I was absolutely not surprised when you became one of the first silver ambassadors on it, because I mean, that is what you do. But why do you believe that is so important? Why, what role does that play in your success?
I think I learned quite quickly, and I'm not the person in the room is going to be under the flower on the side of the wall trying to figure it out as you go along. So networking isn't my happy place, but it's a place that I've learned that don't go there looking for customers. Go there looking for suppliers, because I found the best suppliers through networking. So a lot of them that I've joined here are suppliers of mine who are phenomenal ladies that you want by your side when you need them. Some of my suppliers hate me with a voice note. Hi, I need something for tomorrow. They just know it, they do it. So networking often creates that supplier, and we've got some suppliers who refer the biggest clients to us. So it becomes a round network. We've even got a little networking tab that goes to do networking together. And we actually formed that through Business Women Network, but it used to be around. Yeah. And that was quite phenomenal how that was probably the first Business Women Network in Cape Town that funded that. So network is critical, but don't go there looking for business.
I agree.
It's not the way.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on a very important thing, and it's probably something at the core of Xena. As much as this is a network or an ability for you to network, it's first and foremost to create that sense of community in a way that is very convenient. And I suppose that's kind of where it started, where the whole concept started from. But something that I want to just throw in there, you touched on the goals and the whole thing about managing this networking, work-life balance. It's the question that women get all the time, like how do you do the whole work-life balance, the work that the kids did? What's your non-PC answer to that?
Non-PC guys, I've never asked that question.
Exactly.
Also, his own business, also has 2 kids. Also, like, no one says to him, how do you deal with the work life? So that's my non-PC answer. But how it happens actually, and I don't believe that Oprah often says that you can't have it all, you can't do it all. And I think you can with a lot of support. You know, I'm one of the very fortunate ones. I've got a full-time, I call her a house manager because she runs my house with an iron fist. And she runs it really, really well. I have an EA that sorts my life out. Very proud of my new top, but I literally said, so go brand something. I can't keep on doing virtual calls and not being branded. So it's things like that. You can do it all with a whole lot of help. And as you know, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a company. So if you've got the right staff, you've got the right EA, VA, whatever you want to call them, you've got the right person at home who can help you. My husband's very hands-on. My support system is great.
It's that network again.
Exactly.
Just another network. So having come from corporate originally, having had some stripes earned there, going into a few ventures of your own, and there's a few. Looking back on that, it's the story of most women here. I think most women have been in corporate, have been in businesses, have done their own thing, have gone back, have gone out again. If you just look at your own journey through that process, what would be that kind of nugget, that advice that you would give to yourself looking back? That whole journey from the one to the other.
Yes, I was in corporate and I got retrenched 3 times in the world. And I always worked out that there was the universe kicking me out, kicking my bum to a new area. And then there's things, I think if anything, everything that happens for a reason. And hindsight is the only one that gets you. And we were talking about it yesterday of how all my stepping stones got me here. Erin and I actually met through one of our mentors, through Paul. And if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't have learned insurance. I wouldn't have sold my first company. I wouldn't have bought Job Crystal. I wouldn't have. So everything that happens, and as heartbreaking it is at the time, there is really a reason for it. And that's your next stepping stone to your next career move.
And I think that's also something that I can attest to. It's sometimes that really hard decision that you're struggling to make. Tough things that happen to you is the universe making the decision for you because you just really struggle to pull the plug. I know. I mean, it's tough, but it's the truth. So yeah, for all of you guys there that definitely have that one thing that is currently feeling like it's the end of the world, it's probably the universe kicking you a little bit, telling you that either you're doing too much. I wrote something in the week. The reason why we feel overwhelmed is because we are. So can we just identify it and see how we can just do it better? Now, being in a space where you guys are mainly a all-woman team, I mean, that's something to be truly proud of. I mean, it's loving it. I myself also, having been traditionally in more male-dominant environments and being surrounded by a phenomenal group of women. Lessons to self out of that journey, and how has that changed you in your leadership style and your management style, I suppose, because it is different.
It is very different.
Yes.
So men and women, as much as we want it all to be the same at PC, men and women are different. I think what I've found is women, you can almost give it to them and let them run with it. If you hover over them, they're going to get catty. And I think that's where, you know, you're often in that office environment where luckily we don't work in the office full time and onto each other, where that's where I think the cattiness comes from. A lot of people don't like it with women. But when you're virtual, it's actually quite nice. They get to do their own thing. They get it done. And I think women are more open to go watch the hockey match, go watch the dancing recital, because you're going to work the time in. So I think we've learned, and ours was before COVID, we worked virtually anyway, that it's been very much, here it is, do it. Perform. Yeah. I don't care what hours you work, what days you work. just get it done. And that's kind of my motivation.
Do you think that's the key to the success of the team, kind of leaving them to get on with it?
Definitely. So look, we have had most of ours, I think we're 98% moms.
Yeah.
If not, we've got 2 grannies on the team as well. It's letting them do their own thing. You know, I think what COVID has brought, which is great, is giving you the ability to go and do the soccer match, go and do the lift. And I love it. You know, I drive my child to school now, and I love it. We get this complete connection in the morning for 10 minutes in the car, which we never used to get because I was always in a rush and on the phone. And I had a complete 10 minutes. My phone is off. As soon as she's dropped off, then I get onto the phone, listen to my podcast, do whatever, so it's not dead time. But at least I've had that time.
Yeah.
And that's what the moms, and they're a lot happier to have had that time and they get back.
Absolutely.
So I think women are, it's not trusted more, it's just they're able to get on.
Do you think there's like a transition almost now? Because I do see a lot more women entering into more earning roles, whatever that is. And obviously it's tough because you still want to be the carer and the nurturer, and you still want to be the one that phones your mom or that stops at a community center and takes care of a whole bunch of kids. You still want to have that kind of a contribution to society, which I believe is something that also drives women. With this transition into that environment, do you think that that's something that's just going to get more, or was it always there and we're just kind of tapping into it more now, allowing
it's definitely getting more. You know, I even see the guys doing it. So clients of ours letting people do that mixture. And you know, some of the agencies have created and allowed for part-time roles or hybrid roles, you know, work 4 days. I see one of the countries is trying that to have only working 4 days.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if it catches on. So there's lots of work movements like that where that work-life balance has to come in somehow, somewhere. And I think COVID's helped definitely push us into it. If we didn't want to be in it, we're in it now.
You're always studying something. Okay, on some form of a learning journey. Which one of those have made the most profound impact, and is something that you can attest has made a large contribution to your business, your growth, your career journey?
It was the best thing I did. So like I said, I finished school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. My mother said, I'm not going to university. I did college. And when I started working, I did my degree. And I think when you pay for it yourself and you put the hours in, you study harder and you actually know. The universe also helped me that when I was doing my HR, for example, module, I was going through IR issues. When I was going through strategic management recently, I was going through strategy issues. So the universe helps you along with that. You also learn what real research is. There's something to say about it's not what you know, it's who you know. There's also something to say about it's what you do know and who you know.
And how you can apply it.
It's a mixture of both. I love studying, I love learning. I don't think, I love the saying that readers are leaders and leaders are readers, and it's very true. And studying gives you that fact of you don't just read a book and forget about it. You have to read it, learn it, write it. And you definitely put it much more in practice than just reading a book. So I'm very much for that learning part, and I think it's critical.
And something that as a business owner, some module, some aspect of your learnings that you feel, and I mean, I know it's the HR stuff and there is the legal business, but the one thing that you feel like you actually use it every single day, what is that?
Research. So I think one thing that degrees, and I never realized this, one thing that degrees and honors give you is knowing how to dig deep into the detail, there's so much information out there, and they teach you how to find the right information. You don't look at just any research, and I know we all love the COVID people and with the vaccines and is it good or is it bad? And they go, no, but I've researched. Googling isn't researching. And I think we need to learn that there's peer-reviewed stuff and how it works. And that's what degrees and varsity gives you. So like I say, I was very much, and I still am, I still believe that work probably beats a degree. But I definitely think if you want to move up, you need to start looking at more professional learnings.
So now learning into 2022. And I mean, talent at the moment, managing talent, getting talent, the right people for the right job at the right time, stuff. Firstly, in your experience, when is the right time to start hiring going from that one-man show to the two-man band or the trio? Like, how do you know that now's the time to start bringing people on board in your business?
So we were on a course recently, and I love the way the lady said it is, we're all given 24 units.
Yeah.
So there's 24 hours in a day, but if I gave you 24 units, I said you can use them, we can waste them. But you can't give them away, you can't buy more, you can't borrow, you can't steal. You get 24 units.
Yeah.
And that's what we all get is 24 units.
Yeah.
When you find that you are 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours,
Yeah.
you humanly can't keep doing it. You're going to burn out no matter how brilliant you think you are. At some point, it's all going to fall flat. You do need to have a break. It's much better. Kelly and I still laugh is that when we're on breaks, we do the best deals.
Yeah.
Because your mind's clearer and stuff. And you need to realize that sometimes you need to step away. When you're getting to that 10 hours gap, it's time to bring something on. I always think that's, and then when you find that person's getting to the 10-hour gap, you bring the next person on. This is a starter. That's kind of when you start bursting. You have to have you human. You have to have some balance.
Ladies, hear that? 10 hours. That's the magic number. When you get to your 10 hours, get your peeps. Surround yourself with the right people. In fact, the 2 hours of spending time with them in, and I mean, it's tough at the moment, especially if you stretch. Bringing people on board also means that you need to give them the time. Otherwise, it's just an unfair process. So, yeah, very important.
But you also don't have to bring somebody permanent in. You often bring a VA in. Get somebody to help you with
odds and ends.
And try it out. See how it goes. We started with it today. And then we got our first administrator, we only worked half day and then a full day. Start slowly, you don't have to go start big.
Yeah.
And try it out. We never have money. A startup never has money. But if you can spend more time on the right things, you will make the money.
Top 3 things for scaling your business, making your business grow. It's not necessarily from a profit or from a turnover point of view, but obviously you want to grow it in a way that it either gets easier or that it makes a bigger impact or that you get the necessary fulfillment out of that, because otherwise why do you do it? So 3 things that you believe helped you kind of take your businesses to that level.
The 24 unit rule, once you get to 10 hours bring somebody in, you have to get people. If you're a one-man show, you've got a job. When you start hiring people, you've got a business. So you need to get to that. Hire the first person. So it's the right people. It will always be. Marketing. Every business sells something. Yet you sell, even Facebook sells stuff. If you sell service or you sell a product, marketing is so critical. Learn about it. You need to know what the marketing is. I've had some failed businesses, and I look back and it was the marketing sales. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I didn't know what we needed to do. Make sure you're reading all those books about sales, marketing, do webinars, do invoices, all of that. That's what's going to make your business grow. If you don't have any sales, you don't.
Yeah.
Third one, people read. Yes, and some people aren't readers, they do ebooks.
Yeah.
In your car, or listen to ebooks. So you have to learn. You're not going to grow if your business won't grow if you don't grow. If you do the same thing every single day, and there's a fly analogy I read recently, which is lovely. So there's a fly stuck on the window. We've all had them. And it keeps going and it keeps going. It's working really hard to get out that window. It's working 24 hours a day. It's working hard.
How are you going with this?
It just worked smart. It turned around and went out the door. That's what we do. Is we work hard and hard, and I'm working as hard as I can. I work 12 hours a day. I work 16 hours a day. I work weekends.
Yeah.
Turn around and go through the door.
Go through the door. It's a lovely analogy. I'll use it. And then the last one, and recently, you've been entered into the Ernst Young 2021 Founders nomination. So obviously that's a massive accolade. It's also something that you will always look back on as a founder. Now you are also going to grow into 2021, let's face it, I think it was tougher than most people expected. Just coming, we had high hopes for 2020 because it was this nice round number. And then we had high hopes for 2021 because, gosh, we were finally getting out of this. We have kind of got the same hopes, touch wood, for 2022. Just for you guys that didn't see Tia's already touching wood, everything, because she knows. Now preparing business for 2022. What does that mean for you?
Don't plan.
Don't
I
plan.
think we all planned. I remember my year plan for 2020. God, really raised March. And I think we've learned we can't plan too far ahead. You know, I always love the VCs who want you to plan for 5 years, and you're like, 6 months is not going to be accurate because it's such a changing world at the moment. So EY is a really good example of what you should do when you're building a business. Is you do all those little things every single day. You're sending out your newsletters, you're doing your social media, you're talking to clients, you're doing networking, blah, 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 blah. And you always just feel like you're on the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And every now and again, something like the EY thing happens, you're like, yeah, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So it's always good to have those accolades and you're like, okay, I'm on the right track, and right, let's keep going kind of thing. So I do think we need to stop and kind of pat ourselves in the back, and get those parts right. With that, what happens with 2022? Who knows? I've stopped guessing. What is it going to bring on the recruitment side and bringing candidates in? The market is flooded with great talent, and that's a really good thing for startups. Because corporates are retrenching faster than they hire, where SMEs are growing faster than corporates are. So now is the time to find some really great candidates out there. And again, if they're too expensive, think of half day. You'll be amazed at how many months going to work half day. So I think 2022 is going to rock for SMEs because of candidates that are out there. Because corporates are like on high at the moment, they're just been slashed. So I think it's going to be a good year for SMEs growing, and growing staff.
And growing in those kind of almost support roles, not necessarily in the specialist roles, because I think, especially in the early days, you tend to outsource those just because it's easier to pay a fee for work done than it is to put something into or somebody into that role on a full-time basis. But yeah, I think that's amazing. Sash, what a privilege. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining us today. And I mean, let's face it, we were back and forth about whether we would still be able to have the session. And I was sitting there yesterday chatting to Kate, and we mentioned it earlier in the week, do we still kind of push through? And I'm honestly glad we did, because it was good to see you, it was good to chat to you, and really looking forward to see what next year brings for you guys. I know that we'll spend significant time together as well.
Perfect. So. I'm loving this Xena thing. Well done, guys.
Thanks.
Start somewhere before.
You go. Thank you so much. We'll do that. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm back. So thank you. It was incredible. We actually had a question in the Q&A box while you and Sasha were talking, and I'm going to try and answer it first. Because I think I have a unique perspective on the question. The question was, do you have any advice for students? And my answer, as somebody who is a university dropout, I made it through one whole semester and decided it wasn't for me, is studying is, like Sasha said, it's absolutely fundamental to your success, but don't limit yourself to your studies. Go wider, work, learn from other people, speak to people doing other degrees. I think what happens is if you limit yourself to your studies, you are only competing with the people that you're studying with. And that's a very dangerous place to be. You want to be competing with a much wider field of people, and you want to really be growing your skills wider than what you can only learn in varsity, which is, a lot, but not enough, in my opinion. So that's the way that I would answer the question. We don't really have enough time for lots of Q&As today. So if you guys have more, please just DM us on the network and we'll get your questions as soon and as quickly as we possibly can. Before I introduce Buhle, who is our second silver ambassador, just came in just after Sasha, I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about our gift bags. I feel a bit about like an influencer now. I've never done unboxing before, but just wanted to let you know. So because we are, due to COVID, our event has become online. We are able to send you a gift bag if you would like one. We're going to put a link in the message box now to get your name, surname, mobile number, and address, so we can give that to our couriers. Just so you know what's inside, it's really awesome gifts from women at local female-run businesses on our network. The first is Mama Bongi's cookies. They are legit the best cookies I've ever tasted in my life, and these are her minis, which are new.
Bite size.
I'm not going to go into her story. She's an incredible woman. If you go onto her website, you can hear more about her story. And then the other one is from the ladies at Collectively Conscious. They are also on the network, and they have provided local handmade pure soy wax candles that are made right here in Cape Town, and they're wrapped in Cape Town linen, I think, if I'm correct. So that's what's in the gift bags. If you would like one, we are very happy to send you one. Please just fill out the form. Next up is Vusi. She is just going to speak for between 3 and 5 minutes about her business journey, her business, and how she got to where she is today. And just to thank her before she comes on, thank you very much for being a silver ambassador. It's very important to us. And you can turn on your camera and your mic now, Vusi.
Hi, how are you, everyone? Thank you for this opportunity. I think it has been quite phenomenal just being part of the community. So in a nutshell, I'm in the beauty industry. So I started off as a beauty therapist. I did that for quite a number of years. So within my journey, I think about last year, around June, July, I decided to embark on my journey as to start a business. So my initial business was in perfume making. So I was making my own perfumes and selling them and distributing them. And then unfortunately, I had an accident that literally put me in my tracks around August. So my accident affected me not only emotionally, but physically as well. So I had to halt and stop everything that I'd worked so hard for. I lost customers, I lost everything. And with COVID hitting, so everything just kind of took a backseat. So it's only about 2 months ago, I got the strength to say, you know what, this is my dream. This is what I love doing. I decided, no, let me just start again. So basically what my business is, I make my own bath time treats for the bath and body market. So currently that's what I'm working on. I'm working on rebranding and working on a few products as well. So the business is still quite small. Growing it day by day. And yeah, so that's just my story. So I am actually, I'm grateful to be part of the community and networking and making some of the connections that Xena has offered me at this point in time.
Well, we're very glad to see us. Thank you. And I think so brave. I mean, you know, you've obviously been, you know, you had an accident. It really affected you, but you've come back strong by the sounds of things. And remember to use the network, Vusi and everyone else. So, you know, we've got a lot of marketing gurus on the network, loads of like branding specialists, designers, all of those kinds of things. So reach out if you need.
No, totally. I've actually spoken to Shirley Ann. So yes, totally I have. So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Next up is Vusi. She's going to join us remotely. Unfortunately, she was supposed to be here in person, but she's had to isolate, as have many others. So Vusi, you can turn on your camera and your mic now. Just before you do, I wanted to say a quick welcome to Abiwe. Thank you so much for being here. She's a little bit late, but all good. Abiwe is another one of our ambassadors. We're very, very grateful to have you here. Thank you. Hi, Vusi.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Erin. And hi to all the Xena community members.
It's just all the Xena. So I'm going to look both sides because I actually need to look at my friend when I'm speaking to her as well. I'm heartbroken that she's not on the couch next to me. So I'm her Suzelle. She'll tell you that too. So this is hi from Suze. Obviously, I miss you already. But at least we're able to see each other on Tuesday. So it was like that limited or short time ago that I was able to actually really share the couch with you. So yeah. What an honor, woman. So guys, just for some of you to kind of get into the picture. So Vusi has been a friend of mine now for as little as probably 3 months, which feels like 3 years. And we've shared a lot from boardroom stories to husband stories. And she immediately, from the day she walked into our office, she just felt it and we connected and she got it. And she's got an incredible story. So I also said to her, we would have chatted like old friends, and I had to kind of share those left field questions with her as well. So without further ado, Vusi, you've got a story. You started in deep financial corporate. I mean, you can't get more deep than you were, and took the brave step to step outside the ring, to go and solve the world's problems. So my question is, have you done that yet?
Oh my gosh, Erin. First of all, I like how you go for the harshest questions first. When I have so much FOMO, I have to tell the Xena that I have so much FOMO. I wish I was there with you in real life. It's so weird to do it like this. It's not the same. But leaving corporate was such a huge thing for me because, Erin, you can imagine thinking that you can change the world. It's great, and I do want to say to my younger self, thank you for setting such high expectations. But at the same time, I wish I'd also said to myself, be willing to accept less, right? So there I was, constantly putting myself in a situation where all I wanted to do was achieve these great things. And I'll give an example. I mean, I finished my degree in Honolulu after 5 years in the US. And when you say Honolulu, everyone thinks, surf and fun and all of that. But really, for me, being in Honolulu was proximity to the Pacific Basin, right? So I wanted to spend the time somewhere that was quite nice, but also give me the opportunity to learn about the bottom of the pyramid market. So this is now way back in the late 90s, and Asia was still seen as this place that was dark and scary. And all I could think about were the numbers, the population numbers, the extent, the great markets that were there. And having been on holiday with my parents in probably about 1990, going through Hong Kong, I actually found myself in a market there once. And for a second, just in that moment, like briefly, I just realized that this is what actually keeps me alive. Standing in a marketplace with all the noise, the smells, the people, the humdrum, all of that energy is what actually drives me. And I was in standard 5, which is what, grade 7 now. I was in standard 5 when I did that. And I've never not looked back at that moment thinking that that's exactly what I wanted to do, that I wanted to be in these markets, I wanted to experience them, and I wanted to bring a similar kind of vibe back home with me. And because South Africa is probably one of the only countries in the world where like township or bottom of the pyramid markets are a swear word, right? So everywhere else you go, these informal markets are revered. But here in South Africa, there's just something that's been spatially planned into, dark corners, and people use hushed tones when they talk about townships. And so for me, my lofty ideal was to change all of that, change the perception, change even the way that township entrepreneurs felt about themselves, because when your consumer looks down on you, when the market looks down on you, it's easy to feel that you're not worthy. But what you need is that one person that understands what you're going through, that one person that respects your hustle, because township entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship on steroids. It is the F1 rally, of sports. It's pushing yourself close to the edge every single day and feeling like you're about to fail and then starting again. So I think that's the short answer, Erin.
We'll do a separate session for the long answer, because I think it's very valuable. And I think the journey of every female entrepreneur is so synergistic, so aligned to that kind of pushing yourself to that breaking point and then pulling yourself back again and just going, okay, just hang on a second. Let's just rethink this. And there's definitely so much to take from that. So as a woman that's got a very deep understanding and knowledge of finances, and with a very strong financial background, what would be your advice for young, early starter fempreneurs, combining those two strong skill sets of yours? Because I mean, I love your brand name. You are a catalyst, quasi catalyst, and that's special. So now taking this deep financial knowledge and the hustle on the other side, what is that overlap? Where do these worlds meet?
So I can't answer that question without going back a bit into how I got here. So I grew up in township businesses that my parents ran. So they were the standard petrol station, supermarket, or grocery store, butchery, hair salon, that type of thing. Everything that we know works in townships, right? And in all of our businesses that were in retail, they always had 2 sets of books, right? And then we also had maybe 2 cash registers. And then 1 cash register was for SARS and the other cash register was for the bank.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see that. Yeah.
So, and the thing about the bank was we had to try and show them the best numbers because we wanted, I know my family would always need like overdrafts, which was the only thing that we qualified for. So, you know, as I started university, the only exposure that I'd had to financial instruments or financial tools was that businesses ran on overdrafts. And if we didn't run on overdrafts, we had installment sales that we could get for certain assets, you know, that we needed to buy for the business, right? And so that was clear, and that was it. And then I went off, took some classes at university, some finance classes, and all of that based in the US, and worked as an intern in some banks in the US, and then came back to South Africa and went straight to work for a private bank. And it's in that moment when I was in the private bank that I realized that there is nothing that is not fundable, right? So no is not really the last resort. You can always push and go beyond the no, because I learned that working in that space. And it changed working at these private banks, and I worked for 2 here in Cape Town. I actually realized that I can literally fund or finance anything I want if I find the right credit manager and the right credit minute or motivation, right? So eventually it got to a point where I realized that all I needed to do was write my own credit minutes, even when I was no longer a banker. And that was actually what I was trying to teach township entrepreneurs is, and it's the same advice that I give to young fempreneurs, is as you get into business, don't listen to the no, the first no that you get, and you will get it, especially when you apply for funding.
Vusi, just hang on a second. For those people that don't know what a credit minute is.
So, okay. So, sorry, Erin, thank you. Every time that you send in an application form into a bank looking for credit, the banker or the consultant will fill out a motivation. And then that motivation is what is called a credit minute, because that then goes to the credit person who looks at you, who judges the value of your business. Is it bankable based on what is written in that document? So the business plan that you've spent all night writing means nothing because it's usually 45 pages, right? The presentation that you give passionately to the consultant in front of you won't help you move that, you know, that signal on that credit manager's mind about this business. So the most important thing that I've learned is, if the bank allows you, sit face to face with the credit manager, with the person that makes the decision. Because especially if you are a township entrepreneur, because most people just hear township, and even credit managers, they just hear township and immediately they think squatter camp, right? So even when you've got a title deed, which is what's happened with me, is I've been into banks on the other side, no longer a banker, carrying a title deed and saying, I want to finance this property for development, right? and you can see the banker looking at you because he's reading the earth description saying earth blah 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 Gugulethu. And you just see their hearts sink because they know that when they have to explain this to the credit manager who doesn't know where Gugulethu is in Cape Town, never mind that it's like the oldest township in the Western Cape, but like has no clue. And he's thinking Joe Slovo, the one he saw on TV last night where people were killing each other. And he's just like, absolutely no ways are we going to fund a property there. That's where they have those protests, right? So the trick is how do you change that guy's mind? So when he sees me coming in and I'm sitting in front of him, I sound like a white person, and I use the right financial words. And so now already he's thinking, if this person is running a business in Gugulethu, I want to see this Gugulethu, right? And then when I say to him, actually, I'm going to lease the space to Pick and Pay. And you see his eyes open up bigger, and now he's thinking big money. So it's all about how you frame your business enterprise. The business plan doesn't mean squat. What really is important is that credit minute. And I can't emphasize that enough.
Thanks. I mean, now I think this was a masterclass in how you business fundable. I mean, you just opened the door really wide for a lot of people that's going to pin you on the platform on how do I write my credit minute. So good luck to you. But yeah, I mean, guys, I can second that. I'm sitting here with somebody that very much looks at every single funding application that we receive. And one of the important things that I want to share with you guys, it's so important to understand what you're applying for, why you're applying for it, and what you're applying with. So I'm not going to dive into that, but there's definitely a discussion and a conversation to be had around what Vusi just mentioned there. This is great stuff. I mean, we can literally, this was a little bit of it. We're going to take the snippet out and we're going to slice it and dice it and just share it again. We've got permission to do that, right?
Absolutely.
You guys heard me. We've got permission to do that. So just on that, you know that going into this kind of informal space, being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, very much comes down to how you manage yourself. So how bossy are you on your own time? Now, give me the scoop. How's your boss? How are you on yourself?
She's insufferable. She's hardcore, high expectations, zero chill. But you know what I'm actually learning about myself, though, in this whole journey of entrepreneurship is that my inner voice, and I don't even want to shout too loud, but my inner voice is actually my mom's voice, right? And just my mom, she was also an entrepreneur, and from another generation where she suffered, it was extremely difficult for her. So the obstacles that I have today, to her, they seem minuscule, right? So whatever I achieve, I look at her face and you see just that, really, that's all, that look. So that's my inner voice. My inner voice, because, she's looking at it, she's like, yeah, well, you don't have oppression. You don't have, the standard obstacles that they had. And I'm coming in here thinking I have just kicked off 20 things off my bucket list, which has 100 things, by the way. And these 20 things has taken me almost a decade. And I'm coming in like on a high. And so that inner voice of mine is really my mom's voice going, that's all you've accomplished in this time.
And I mean, it's amazing.
And it's exhausting, Erin.
I know, but I mean, you're touching on something important. And I said I tried to explain to somebody this morning where I said, I look at so I've got, Sasha mentioned she's got 2 daughters. I've got 2 daughters. I know you have a daughter. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, I'm probably going to be her inner voice. boys. Or both of theirs. Sometimes I wish the one will take my husband's because I think she might need his inner voice more than mine. But I realize that to a large extent, I'm going to be their inner voice. And the obstacles that I'm faced or that we're faced with today, I'm so holding thumbs that it won't be the same obstacles they face. Let our battles not be theirs. I mean, you and I've spoken about that before. What we are doing here and what we're doing together is very much for this next generation to go out and kill it in a different way. Because I mean, they must have it tough. They can't have it easy because I think that's what builds character. So please let them not have it easy. That would just be unfair. But it's very important for us to let those battles be different ones than the ones that we fought. So, I mean, it's nice to be on that battlefield with you. I can see you sharing it. So just kind of to close off, I mean, I can ask you what's next for you. What is the future for you and your daughter? But I actually want to take with you the insights that you have and having such a finger on the pulse. What is happening in 2022 for entrepreneurs in South Africa?
So I think thanks to COVID, it's great times, right? Because COVID has given us the opportunity, first of all, as women, to, I think my friend actually captured it correctly. She said, we've got to learn to say no, full stop, right? So a man will be asked on a Saturday morning, hey, John, can you come to a meeting in such and such a place? I know it's last minute. And you know what his answer is going to be? No, full stop. And a woman will be asked the same question. And she's like, oh my gosh, I have got to take my kids to the sports badge. I've got to go and do this. But you know what? If we can move it 5 minutes later, I will maneuver myself around and I'll definitely be there. You know, so and what we've done by being these people who, one, are very accommodating, but also can make things happen, is that men have comfortably thrown everything at us because they know we can do it and we keep on doing it well. So I think having the universe send us a restart, right? A reset button, and it's saying to us as women, we actually don't need to do all of this stuff anymore. We can actually just say no, full stop. And I think the most and that's the most critical learning that we need to take into 2022, because if we all do it as women, then it's even easier for the next generation to start better, you know, when they're up. Because we have done so much, we are so tired, and we need to just say, sure, thank you, universe, for giving us a breather. But in terms of where the market is going, the market, for me, I see the urban space shrinking, right? And all the big guys are aware of that. And the moment the numbers came out for what the township market spends in terms of stockpiles, I think they said something like 50 billion per year. Suddenly, everybody and their cat wants to access the township market. So if you are a township entrepreneur currently, my thing is differentiate yourself as quickly as possible. Go as local as possible, because when these corporates come into that space, they will devour you if you're selling exactly what they're selling. And obviously to the urban players, if you're looking to go into the township space, my business, Kasi Catalyst, that's exactly what we do. We guide big corporates or urban players on how to access township markets, I suppose, ethically and sustainably.
And responsibly. So great.
Yes.
Listen, thank you so much. It's always lekker. And I know you understand that word because you used it on Tuesday. It's always lekker to speak. And really looking forward to us having our next event together in the same room with everybody else. I can't wait to fill up this floor with ladies spending time together. Guys, I want to close off and I want to be considerate to everybody's time, because Vusi said we should say no with a full stop when it is time. So I'm putting let's wrap this up with a full stop at the end of it. But before I do that, I wanted to ask you guys for 2 seconds, because this is our first real virtual event where we unite together. And I want to take this moment to say a few thank yous. Before I get to that, there's a few tidbits that we touched on during the course of the session that I think would have created a lot of thinking in your own minds, questions, thoughts. Please pop any themes, topics, discussions, any value that we can add into your journey, into your career, pop them into the chat. We'd love to cover these in articles, blogs, content, webinars. We want to make sure that when you come onto the platform, you see the things that you're already asking yourself, that inner voice that's speaking to you. So make sure that we get a hold of that, and we will tap into all the resources we've got to our availability to make sure that we can at least address some of them. So while you guys are busy jotting those down there, I just want to share with you guys some incredible milestones we had over the last 2 months. We have 300 active members on the platform, and we're actually over that milestone now. So this is an incredible moment, and this is us. I want to just give a quick round of applause to each of you guys. More than 170 of those are referred members by you guys on the platform. So an incredible milestone for us. We've also had our first webinar during the course of the last month, our first virtual event. And then we're releasing our digital guide, which is going to be available in your December downtime, on how you can recharge before the 2022 madness gets hold of us. So please be on the lookout for that. A personal thing for us, we believe that giving women access to the financial means to grow their business is one of the key cornerstones, where women typically have had either fears, doubts, or uncertainty around whether they can access it and how they can access that. And over the course of the last 60 days, we have approved more than 725,000 Rand in funding for women business owners in South Africa. So that was a personal touch for me, just because I know that with that money, they are going to employ, provide services and grow their own business so that they can grow it with the rest of the female community. A few mini milestones, just a few tiny ones. We have our first mentorships that started in the course of the last 2 weeks. It's something close to my heart. I'm a closet teacher. I did actually teach at Stellenbosch University and realized I'm too young to become a lecturer at 23. So I do believe that there's something about giving back and spending time with other women. So thank you for honoring me with the ability to mentor yourselves. Then also we had first of its kind in-platform service bookings. Viwe and I spent some time officially, unofficially together over the last week, and I was so super proud with just how that process came about, and I want to celebrate her for jumping onto it and the incredible, exceptional service she provided. So yeah, just a round of applause. And then I'm also proud of the legal, HR, and marketing design principles and advice that we've provided already through the platform. A lot of in-person DMs that came through just saying thank you. It's services that people would have paid money for that they can now access for free just because it's available at their fingertips. So I want to encourage you guys to also tap into that. Now, very few might know that this platform was a tiny twinkle in our eyes in June of this year still. It was definitely not something that was on the radar, and it's amazing. With very skilled, capable people, of which most of them are in the room here today, we were able to take it from an idea in June to a fully fledged, launched in-app platform by end of September. Now, in order to be able to provide this fully fintech, 100% integrated with platform services and solutions, it wasn't done by myself or one or two other people. This was a talented team of women that created this for you guys. So this is literally for women by women, and a few honorary guys. They know who they are, that helped us, and with massive support from them to get this across the line. So just for that, I wanted to use one moment and just bear with me, a huge thank you, just a few, because I don't often get the opportunity to do this. I wanted to say thank you to the ambassadors that have brought so many women onto the platform, and for sharing and being advocates for Xena. We're going to look back at this moment. We're going to look back at the women that made it happen in probably 10, 15 years' time, and we're going to go, remember the time when we were celebrating 300 women onto the platform, when we're talking about 3 million globally. So I know that that's lofty ambitions, but I do believe if we put our hearts and our minds to it, we can definitely make that impact and change. I wanted to say thank you to the mentors that's making their time available, most of them for no remuneration. They're doing it out of their heart and the passion that they have for the female business owners. To the team in the States, Audra and her team, who really helped us in a very short space of time take this platform into the Apple and Android stores, which it was phenomenal. It was literally in a case of 4 weeks. We had everything developed and launched. I wanted to also say thank you to our support teams. I've got sun in my eyes here now. I'm just going to make it slightly harder. I'm just going to shift up a little bit. But to Anam, to Naz, to Heidi, to Danielle, to Vicky, they are here. They're also, some of them dialing in. They, as much as this is a fintech integrated solution, I want to tell you guys, you might not know it, but there's human beings, there's human ladies looking at every single woman, every profile that gets created, every single application that comes through, and every person that starts having the funding conversation, they look at every single unique deal with their own hands and their own eyes, trying to see how can they make that happen. And I think a lot of the women on the platform can attest to that. I also want to say thank you to Vusi. She's there in the background, but from the first moment I shared this idea with her about 3 months ago, she's been cheering really hard all the time. Just go, just do it. There's such a big need for this. So thank you for pushing me. And then a few special ones, not more special, but just special mentions, because Tia, she was there 18 months ago when a really ugly presentation was shared with her on this whole female capital and female networking community. And I know how terrible that must have looked. I'm just thinking back at it, and she just went, this is great, we have to do this. And it's with women like that, and it all comes down to that networking community thing. It's by hearing other women tell you to do something that we sometimes scrape together that confidence to actually go and do it. So thanks to Tia. I want to say thanks to Tisita, because you guys will meet Tisita and spend time with Tisita on the platform. She's been part of my journey for 5 years. She's always there. She's there late at nights and early mornings, and we wouldn't have been here today. She took a great idea on my couch with a glass of wine 3 months ago. It was crazy at that time, and she's definitely taking a sip already. It was this crazy idea. I told her we needed to get this live in August, and she didn't go no. She was like, okay. We need a brand, we need a name. And she just started chipping away at this, and this beautiful, very sassy brand that we're seeing on social media is all her. And I want to give credit to that, where credit is due. It was phenomenal to see this literally come live in a space of a month. What am I? I'm coming to it. I literally wrote, you're going to laugh when you hear it. I said, I want to say thank you. I'm not going to use the name because I use Paige's name as a proxy for everybody on the team. And I know they'll get it, but she's got this incredible team of women. So every single thing that you guys see is a bunch of ladies that just graft every single day. And I want to say thank you to them. I really didn't forget. Tisita is as much them as they are her. And I know I can ask them, so how's your boss? And they'll say she's great, because she believes in them, and she gives them the opportunity to really shoot the lights out. So thanks, ladies. You made it beautiful. It was a great, I really believe it was an idea, and you made the idea really pretty. So, and I do have this uncanny ability to just kind of use one name for everybody. So I know who you are. I really love all five of us. Lastly, and most importantly, Kate. Kate is the other mother on this brand. She's the relentless host that's on there every day. That is so from her heart, so passionate. She's like the activist on this platform. And while we have 1,000 other things to do, 2,400 engagements in 2 months. That is, I did the math, 40 per day that she spends picking out. Apart from everything else that we need to do, she makes sure that there's no comment missed, no question unanswered, no engagement not liked. So thank you so much. You know how much I appreciate you. So it's definitely the power of the team. So thank you so much. For so light for what I'm feeling, but yeah, it's all I have. And then most importantly, to each of you guys that have joined tonight, that are joining every day, that are sharing your lives with us, your questions, your services, and that's buying into this dream. I want to say thank you. We would not have this platform and this great future for our country and for our kids if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for meeting us where we're at every day. We see you every day. Thank you so much. And with that, before I start getting all emotional about this, I'm going to wrap it up and looking forward to welcoming you on the other side of New Year's. Have a great break, have a great rest. Please download that digital guide. The Sita and the team did not work all hours to get that ready for you guys not to go and entrench yourself in it. Questions, these questions, guys, I am going to take every single one of those questions. I will answer them during the course of this week. I will promise, I commit to closing the loop on them by close of business tomorrow. And I promise that we will be here for you guys every day. And next time we will make this event 2 hours long so that we can get to everything. But yeah, so enjoy it and go out there and get them. Break a leg. Bye.